Hello you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another T&I toy review. And today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at another new Marvel Legends 6-inch Avengers Endgame movie figure from Hasbro, specifically the new Walmart exclusive Captain America figure. The official name for this figure is Power and Glory Captain America. That's at least how it's listed on the Walmart website. Most of us, I think, call it Worthy Captain America because he does come with Thor's hammer. Now, the figure itself is packaged in the same style we see with all the Marvel Legend figures. You've got the Legend Series logo up at the top. The figure is clearly displayed in the window box packaging. Down below, you've got the Avengers movie logo and the name of the character. On the sides of the packaging, you've got some artwork for Captain America. And again, you have artwork on the back. Now, this artwork is done by Jerry Wilson. He does most of the Marvel Legend artwork these days on the packaging. If you haven't checked out his Instagram page, you really should. I'll put a link to that in the video description below. And then you also get a brief bio in multiple languages. All right. Let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Now, real quick, just because a lot of you have been asking online where exactly is Thor's hammer, they've hidden it actually behind Cap's shield here. I guess they did that for spoiler reasons, since, you know, they maybe figured people hadn't seen the movie yet and didn't know that he actually ends up using Thor's hammer. So you just pull out the shield and there you see Thor's hammer hiding behind it. Okay, so here's a look at the figure completely out of the packaging along with the other contents. Now we'll start off by taking a closer look at Thor's hammer, and this seems to be the same accessory that we've seen with previous Thor movie figures. You've got the metallic silver on the hammer portion, and you've got the engravings there that are actually sculpted, and you've got the big circle up at the top, so all that looks good. For the handle, you've got the dark brown, and you've got some sculpting detail on there, so it looks like actual leather wrappings on it, and then you've got the metallic silver at the tip of the handle, and then followed by that loop that's made with the rubber material. So again, this seems to be pretty much the same Thor hammer that we've seen with previous Thor figures. On my particular figure, I do want to note that here on the side, I have a little divot in there. I think that's just something with my particular figure. It's certainly not something that we saw in the movie. The hammer wasn't actually damaged or anything in the movie. So I don't think that's something you'll have to worry about with your figure. We also, of course, get Captain America's shield. So he finally gets his shield back in this movie. And this one, you'll notice, has battle damage on it. You've got these scuff marks and blast marks and everything on it. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same design that we've seen with previous MCU Captain America shields. You've got the red, the metallic silver, and the metallic blue, and then with the star, you've got the line work sketched in there. You also have the metallic silver line around the blue circle, and you've got the brown straps on the back, and on the back, this one is just done with a metallic silver. Now, like with all these MCU shields, it is a little disappointing that you can't actually attach it to the figure's back. I don't know why they don't include the little pegs like they do with the comic book versions and have a hole in the figure's back, but as it is, you know, you can put it on his arm, but you can't actually put it on his back. And then, of course, the shield is not broken like we see, you know, what happens in the movie. My guess, they didn't go that route because if they actually made it look movie accurate, it would have these jagged edges on it, and that might be like a safety hazard or something. I don't know, that's just a guess. You could probably take cutters and break it in half if you wanted to yourself. I don't know if I would do that or not, but as it is, you know, the markings and the blast marks and everything actually look pretty good on this. Now, technically, you can put the shield on either the right or the left arm, but with the figure, if you want him to hold both the shield and the hammer at the same time, I mean, I guess technically you could put them both on the right arm, but he's only got a grip hand with the right arm. The left hand is a closed fist, so you can only put the hammer in the right hand, so it's probably better if you actually put the shield on the left arm. Now, to put the shield on, the best way to do it is actually just pop the hand off and slide the shield over the arm and then put the hand back on. This hand does have a little bit of difficulty sliding over the smaller strap, and then with the hammer, like I said, you have to put that in the right hand, but he does hold it pretty good. He's got a pretty tight grip there. Now, the final accessory you get with this figure is an alternate unmasked Chris Evans head sculpt. And I think this is probably the best head sculpt Hasbro has done for Chris Evans. The last one they did with the MCU 2-pack that came with Crossbones, the Cap figure that came with Crossbones, that one was pretty good. That was a solid one. And in fact, I think the actual face sculpts themselves are the same, but this new one, it's got a completely different hairstyle, which I think is more movie accurate. I think that makes the figure look much more like Chris Evans, or I won't say much more, but a bit more like Chris Evans than even this one. And you also have have, I think, a little bit better paint job on this new head sculpt. So in my opinion, at least, I think this is probably the most accurate Chris Evans head sculpt that Hasbro's done to date. And all you do is you just pop it on, it's a ball joint there, and you just pop the head sculpt on and it pops right on there. And again, I think it fits well. You don't see too much neck or anything. So, you know, again, I just really think this is a solid looking head sculpt. Now, some of you have asked online, you know, can you put the other one on there? You know, some of you have actually said that you kind of like the other one. So you can, if you wanted to use that older one, you can use that as well. And in a minute, I'll show you the new head sculpt on the Civil War Captain America body. Now for the figure itself, starting with the regular head sculpt, the one with the mask, I think Hasbro's done a good job. Even though this one is wearing a mask, I still think it looks like Chris Evans. Now one thing I don't quite like is, for some reason, they did the strap, they did the chin strap here a lighter, almost a beige color, and I don't recall it being like that in the movie. It definitely stands out a bit. We didn't see that with previous figures, so I don't know if they did that just to differentiate it from previous ones or what. You know, this looks very similar to previous head sculpts that we've gotten, especially like the MCU one for the Civil War Captain America, but I don't really like that lighter color. And then the skin tone's good. I like the skin tone. The eyes look good. You've got the A, which is actually sculpted on the helmet there with the metallic silver. You've got the wings on the side, which are also sculpted with the metallic silver. I think the ears look good. And then I even like how you can see the hair that sticks out from the bottom. So, you know, the detailing on this, the brown strap that comes down from the helmet, all looks good as well. So I think the detailing on this head sculpt is really nice. And then for the rest of the figure, we've got pretty nice sculpting detail. Now I will give you a comparison of the MCU Civil War Captain America. These figures are similar, but there are differences, and I actually think this is probably the better of the two figures. So starting with the head sculpts, I would almost say these are pretty equal. I think the A looks a little better, comes out looking a little better on this new one, but I don't like the lighter color of beige they used on the chin strap there. I just don't like that. But what I really like better with this new head sculpt is back here with the hair. So you can see that like they kind of left some of the hair on this one unpainted, where they got it completely painted on this one, so it looks more natural. So I think they did a better job. I also like it's a lighter color on this one. This is more of a reddish color they used on the hair, so I just like it from the back, this new figure. Otherwise, they're pretty similar as far as overall look and everything. Now with the rest of the figure, you know, you'll notice that the shoulder pads on this figure are actually separate pieces, which on this one they're not. So that's a difference. You have the chainmail sculpt on this one, but that's actually just differences in the costumes from the movies, so that's not really something I can compare. You've got the straps. Now they did paint on these straps here, they did paint these buckles silver. They left it unpainted on this one. And then you've got the star here. I actually think the star looks a little better on the new figure. You've got the chainmail sculpted on this one, but again, that's really something more to do with the differences in the actual costumes. They are very similar costumes, but there are some differences, and that's probably the biggest. And then you've got the midsection, a little bit darker white on this one than this one. Again, this one I've got some paint blemishes where it looks like it's gotten scratched a little bit when you move the midsection joint. The belts are pretty much the same. And then what I really like better about this figure is the different legs. You know, they do not, again, you don't have this kind of weird detail that we've seen on all the MCU Cap figures up until this point. They actually gave us different legs, and I like these ones better. And now I've done a head swap, so I've got the new unmasked head sculpt on the Civil War body and the older unmasked head sculpt on the Endgame body, and you can see, you know, they're pretty much interchangeable, but again, I really like this unmasked head sculpt. I think it looks more like Chris Evans to me. And if by some chance you wanted to use the Civil War masked head with the new Endgame body because you don't like that chin strap like me, it does work on this figure and looks pretty good. Okay, now this figure stands right between 6.5 and 6.25 inches tall. And you will notice when looking at the Civil War Captain America figure with this new one, the Civil War one is actually a hair taller. Okay, so here's a look at all the various Marvel Legend MCU Captain America figures that Hasbro's done to date. So we've got the Captain America First Avenger figure. Then we've got the Captain America figure from the first Avengers movie, and you may have heard me say this before, but I really hope Hasbro ends up giving us an updated version of this one, since I don't think this one is very movie accurate. Then we've got the Winter Soldier Captain America, Age of Ultron Captain America, the first Civil War Captain America figure they did in the single pack. Then we had the Civil War Captain America with the battle damage that came in the 3-pack with Spider-Man and Iron Man. Then we had the most recent Civil War Captain America figure that came in the 10th anniversary line. Then we have the Infinity War Captain America with the beard that looks like Dwight Stahl. And then most recently we had the Quantum Suit Captain America figure, which isn't very movie accurate. And then finally this new Walmart exclusive version, which I think is probably the best MCU cap they've done to date. Here's a comparison with Hasbro's recent Avengers Endgame Thanos Build-A-Figure. And then finally, here's a comparison of some other Avengers movie figures. So we've got the Infinity War Thor figure. And yes, I do think Hasbro will eventually get around to giving us an Endgame Fat Thor, as well as a Mark 85 Iron Man. I don't know when, but I can't imagine that Hasbro wouldn't release those. And then we've got Black Widow. This is actually my Infinity War Black Widow with the head sculpt that came with the Target 2-pack, the Endgame Target 2-pack with the Quantum Suit figures. And then I've got my Hulk figure. I don't yet have the Endgame Hulk, so I'm using my Age of Ultron Hulk. And then I've got Ronin here with the Unmasked head sculpt, Clint Barton head sculpt that again came with the Target 2-pack. Okay, now for articulation, it's pretty similar to what we saw with like the Civil War version, but I'll go over it here. You can turn the head to the left and to the right. Now he can look down about that much. He can actually look down pretty good there. And then he can only look up about that much, and then he really doesn't have much in the way of head pivot. Now with the arms, because the shoulder pads are separate, they will kind of catch there, so you want to be careful. That's really about as far out as I want to do it without risking, you know, bending it or breaking those off. I mean, they are rubber, so you know, you can get it out pretty good there, but just be wary of that. You can rotate the arm pretty good. You've got a bicep swivel. You've got a double hinged elbow, so good bending there. You've got rotation with the hands, and then you've got the hinges, so you've got up and down movement there. You've got the ab crunch joint, so you can crunch down about that much, and he can look back pretty good. But again, just be careful because you do get some rubbing there, and it can kind of cause a scuff mark there on the white. And then he does have a waist swivel with the legs. He can do the splits good. He can get the leg forward about that much, and then he can do the leg out and back. You've got a thigh swivel, you've got a double jointed knee, you've got a boot cuff swivel, you've got hinges on the feet, so up and down movement, and you do have ankle pivot, and of course 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet. Okay, so that's my review. So while I think this is very similar to the Civil War Captain America, I think there's just enough differences on this one to make it worth getting, especially if you're a Captain America fan like myself. I do actually think this is probably the best MCU Marvel Legend Captain America figure they've done. The Civil War one, the MCU 10th anniversary one was a solid figure. And again, they're very similar, but I like the chainmail look on this one over the Civil War outfit. And then I like the unmasked head sculpt just a bit better. I think the hair looks better on that one. And while it is a little disappointing we didn't get an actual broken shield, I think the scuff marks and everything on this shield actually look pretty good. Now this figure, as I said, is a Walmart exclusive. It is hitting physical stores now. It has not been yet made available on the website. Technically, if you go like through BrickSeek, you can find it on the website, but it actually has not been made available there yet. Hopefully it will soon for those of you who aren't able to find it in physical stores. But if you want to use the UPC, and I will put that down in the video description, you can go to BrickSeek and check and see if your local stores do have it in stock. Now we'll have a full image gallery up at marvelousnews.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you're so inclined, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And of course, you can follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to all those in the video description as well. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.